Rolling, rolling, rolling. Get those poems rolling. Get those poems rolling. What?
Rawhide.
All the things you're writing about the fish that are biting, we'll get them on the end of the ride. I just made that one up. Turning 21, that's my poem.
How many years has it been since they've let you and I MC together?
Well, I would have to say you and me MC together, just to be grammatic about that. I just want to publicly educate people here about pronoun usage. So if you say, how many years has it been since they've let me MC, right? Then you would also say, how many years has it been since you've let you and me MC? Okay? So that's your public service announcement. Ron is role-playing that. He's grammatically correct, he knows. But we know people here are frightened of role-playing. So we just thought we'd show you how it works. That's just a real simple example of how to do some role-playing.
So
that's what I do when I don't know the answer to a question. I don't know how long it's been since the two of us have MC'd together.
I don't know either, and I don't know if it was...
It was the last time that the sounds of the sea were here, I can tell you that. Thank you, 5 years.
Yeah, so it was, so if you don't know this, I owe everything about Fisher Poets to Mo Bostern 12 years
Anybody
ago.
who's a fan of him is secretly indebted to me.
I am.
I am his skipper.
So I have to tell you this, and then we'll, I guess, get this started. I was just trying to figure out how to roll into this. So I've become very close to Mo through the years, and she knows how to push my buttons. She's got this Zen thing going on with Ron, and it's gotten close to me. We kind of get a chance to keep up in between Fisher Poets sometimes when I can be blowing through Portland and catch up with Mo and George. But before George, it was at the conclusion of a Fisher Poets. It was on a Sunday, and some of us had gotten together for a potluck before we left. And I've been married to my wife Nancy for 36 years. And thank you. So
I still believe Nancy's an imaginary person.
That's
Nancy.
That's what they say.
She's in the car. Anybody can show me a photo of a woman.
She does exist, and the reason everybody would love her is she keeps my feet right back on the ground. I was telling somebody out in the audience here earlier, she doesn't get to go with me on the road much. Somebody's staying at home feeding cows and horses, but she came out to one of these deals once, and somebody came up and said, "Oh, you're married to Ron?" She said, "Well, yes, I am." She says, "Isn't he something else?" And Nancy was like, "Yeah, he's something else." And they're like, "It must be just great being around Ron." And she's like, "Listen, Ron," and she's not really a wise guy like me, but this was just the classic line. She was like, "Ron is like medicine." And they were getting, she said the people kind of melting. No, and she says, "Wait, like a little bit of medicine is really good for you, but very much can be toxic." So I'm fully in favor of marriage. I'm not crazy about weddings. I mean, you gotta have that part of it. I just don't go to a lot of weddings. And I think she sensed this. And I carried your wedding invitation that you gave to me. I carried it around so much in my wallet it finally just tore to pieces. I don't have it. I wish I'd have put it in them plastic things, but it was at the end of a Fisher Poets, the last Fisher Poets before you and George married that summer, and she was leaving, and we don't. It's a little emotional when we leave, and so we just both try to shake that off, And she said, I'll see you soon. She handed me a slip of paper and she left off. And it was torn out from the back of the Fisher Poets program, and it was the only wedding invitation that actually could have ever worked for me. My wedding invitation from Mo Bowstern simply said, "Getting married this summer, I dare you to come." And I did. I did.
And it was actually at the farewell open mic, and we were sitting in the front row. And in between poets, I leaned over and I handed it to him.
Yep, and it worked.
It did work. It did work.
Okay.
Somebody was like, "You inviting Ron?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And the thing is, my wedding was full of lesbians who love me and my queer community. And for some reason, they loved Ron. And he came in his outfit. You know, the queers, we like to dress up real nice. And so Ron really fit right in. He had the big mustache that you see in all the men's magazines. And and they just took turns dancing with him. And then they were like, "Where did you get him? Can I have him at my wedding?" Of course, we had to wait for marriage equality to pass. But yeah, he was there.
I was. Maybe we ought to do
And you know, Ursula Le Guin was there too. She was at my wedding. I can say that now that she's gone. I was discreet for a long time. She was there. She jumped the broom at my wedding with her husband.
All right, should we do a contest maybe?
There's nobody in line, man.
Well, we haven't given them the signal yet, so maybe
I
the
see
way we're
Ingrid's scribbling away and Buck's working on something.
so maybe the way we're going to do this is in just a minute, so we don't have a stampede. We'll have.
You see how Ron threw that in there to make you feel like uncomfortable about being at Fisher Poet? Stampede is a cowboy word.
Okay.
It's like flooding.
Okay. So that we don't have a bunch of set netters knocking each other around for the opener.
Close. Let's get a little clatter going on the net.
I'm so reaching here. So we'll have you come line up right here.
Just line up like a bunch of seiners. Just line up like Cordova Gillnetters at the line.
So, and just,
Yep, just get in the line, people.
Don't wait for me to say go. Just randomly get up. So, all right.
Poets, welcome to the stage. Oh my gosh.
And we're doing this with round of applause, right? We're going to line them up back here, keep them back here. Okay. Okay, so.
I think like, to be honest, you should ask me. Okay.
Yeah, we don't ask. This is we're MC. Okay, so poets, here's what we're going to ask you to do, okay? You're going to come up. You got the timer because my battery's
I got the timer.
Okay, you're going to come up.
Ron's in charge of the rules. I am in charge of the heckling.
We want to know who you are and where you're from, and then start your poem. Okay, then we're going to give them a round of applause, and we're going to ask you to, we're just going to line up back here. You don't mind being on stage, right? We're going to line up, and then we'll select some finalists and get this deal rolling, okay?
However, I am going to insert a rule.
Okay.
Because we do have one solid rule. So, you know, they try and give us these rules every year, but there's something in here that just says, consistent with the spirit of the Fisher Poets gathering, and Ron and I have decided that means that you are present. So that's the spirit of the gathering. You're here and you wrote a poem. So
yeah, Fisher Poets, we embrace them all. If you came here to hear about this lifestyle, you were in. That's consistent, right? So come on.
But
let's bring our first poet up to stage.
The rule is that if you go over a minute, which I'll let you know I'm on the timer, then we'll just say thank you and give you an applause and point you off the stage. Okay? Yeah, after you're done. I won't know how long, you get to read your whole poem. I'm not going to kick you off.
I sing symphonic metal, so I know how to work a mic. I sing symphonic metal, I know how to Yeah, you don't want opera up here. I do opera on steroids. So my name is Nicole. Lynette helped me write this. I am from Portland, Oregon, and I don't fish. 21 years ago, a young boy turned and boarded a small fishing boat. His girly mother, a woman who never went camping or fishing, was trying her luck. A slimy, flapping fish with big, glassy eyes leaped into the boat. The mother squealed, "Ooh!" And the boys followed, "Ooh!" Plop dropped the fish into the boat. As they gathered their things to go, she looked at her guide and said, "I don't know if I'll make it till he turns 21.
3502, well within the markers.
My name is Jim Henry. I'm from Peaks Island, Maine. I don't know if there's any Mainers here, but I certainly appreciate it if there is. Are you timing?
Ready?
I want to dedicate this poem to my wife and my daughter, who are responsible for me creating this. The journey of 21 turns around the sun begins on July 3rd, 1997. Thunder rolls, Rip Van Winkle style, across Penobscot Bay, Maine. Lightning flashes outside the birthing room, Hannah arrives. July 3rd, 2009, anchored in the Igigik River, in front of the Icicle Cannery. 21 drift boats astern our tender Dolphin. Hannah pulls on the pelican hook, tagline, sending 1,000 pounds of sockeye into our hold. She turns, smiles at me, trips, and follows the sand. I reach in, pulling her out. Another light, salmon blood covering her. Soaked, she stands on the deck. Happy 12th birthday, Hannah. Someday you'll thank me for this. July 3rd, 2018, South Channel, Igigik River, 21 drift boats astern the Dolphin. Hannah at the crane swings the brailer aboard the boat. Skipper calls up, great crane operator for a girl, the skipper yells. Not bad fishing for a boy, he answers. Turns to me and smiles. 21 turns around the sun every day, Hannah. I thank you.
1 minute and 42 seconds. Give him a big hand as he exits the stage. Woo! Beautiful.
You know, it's a tough thing about being an MC and a judge is we gotta follow the rules. And even though you went over and got disqualified, it's legend around here that some of the best poems were disqualified in this.
Oh, God. Yep.
Hello, I am Mort. I am from Portland, Oregon. Hi. When he turned 21, we celebrated at Sea Dogs on the Androscoggin, Maine. We were an odd pair for sure. Me, a college senior with honors. Him, a local, a townie. We met during pickup and bonded over a spliff. Fast friends, we'd go out on his old ratty skiff. He taught me that rotting chicken was the best lobster bait, so we'd hit the Safeway dumpster at dawn and go out for the day. To be honest, we didn't bag much, spent more time with Jack and Jim Beam than with any full traps. But graduation came quick, and I moved to Boston while he was still there. It was 2003. Some joined for country, some joined for revenge. He joined to get clean. He did, for what it's worth, but that and his silver star were little solace to me as I turned and shuddered at the pop of the 21 gun salute.
Woo, 1 minute exactly. Also chills. Aren't they staying on stage if they...
Yeah, they should come on stage.
You're welcome to stay on the stage, Mort.
I'm Susanna from Jewel and sometimes Astoria. When I turned 21, graduated, I wondered what I would do. I became a farmer, and now I know that I share in common with fisher folk, watching the weather, ropes and gloves, maintaining machinery, and running a crew, appreciating good rain gear and boots. But my extra toughs can't handle my jeans and rain pants. This puzzled me until I realized that fisher folk keep their rain pants out and farmers tuck them in. Now I got my biceps from wrestling sheep in hay, not fish. And 5 decades after 21, I can still pin down my biggest sheep.
53 seconds for Susanna, and I have to say, stay on the stage. You're welcome to stay on the stage as a qualifier. Years ago, when I first met Susanna, I'm gonna step in here. We got to talking, she told me she was a farmer, and she had said, oh, I have a lamb in my car. It couldn't be by itself. So I got to go out in the rain and meet one of Susanna's little baby lambs. You got one this year? In the car?
Oh, no.
No. Because I'm like, I'm going. Ron, you got this. I'm going to go hang out with the lamb.
One was born today.
See, that's difficult for me to relate to, because if you have a lamb in your car in Arkansas, that's a felony.
That's why they call it being on the lamb.
All right, let's go to our next one.
All right, ready to go?
Where you're from?
My name is Sarah Youngren. I'm from Soldotna, Alaska, and I'm a seabird biologist. So, it was a few years after I turned 21 that I met my first tern. You know, the birds, on an island called Tern, a tiny dot in the ocean covered in birds and all of their turds. It was a place I was lucky to be, even before they pooped on me. They do a lot. Again and again and again. Did you know they aim? Seabirds have game, and terns are up on theirs. They stab and they poke. Their defense is no joke. But I'm an intruder, so I respect it, and I work to protect it, carefully picking through the nursery, doing my work, grateful for the adversity, wearing headphones, not to go mad, but it's not so bad. I have at least 21 scars to remember to protect my tern friends.
Sarah coming in at 52 seconds. Qualifying.
Horrible at these mic things. Hey. My name is Joel. I'm from Bellingham. This year, Fisher Poets turns 21. That means we can finally start drinking. So raise a glass to song and story, to poem and prose and heart splayed open, to family tied by tide and ocean, bound not by blood but by wind and work and shared devotion, by experience lived and stories woven from streams of consciousness. Innate emotion runs through us all in the words here spoken. Passion inspires passion. The rising tide lifts all ships. 21 years, it's your turn.
41 seconds to qualify. A former winner. At least, how many times have you won? Just once. Just once.
I'm Paul from Florence. To turn 21, remembering that time 43 years ago, Vietnam was over. The military draft ended. I caught my first ship, and the world opened its arms, embraced me. I lived in boundless wealth, not of things or possessions, but opportunities. I explored its unlimited diversity, engaged with its cultures, experienced its hospitality, and followed a spiritual thread holding it all together. Lately, I wonder, try to imagine what it's like to be young. These times of endless war, closing borders, sealed minds, digital hallucinations. How will the world embrace them? How will they discover its diversity, experience its hospitality? How will they find the spiritual thread holding it all together? How will they know when they turn 21?
Paul barely making it. 1.0001. We're going to give it to him.
Hi.
Hey.
Okay. My name is Amanda Gladix. I live here in Astoria, and I'll just read my poem. 21, she said as she turned to and fro. 21 buttons are all we have left. Where else can we go? Doreen's eyes light up. I have a thought. An afternoon craft project, buttons from that year that nobody bought. Quickly we scribbled a hasty 19, solving a problem none had foreseen. It happens all day long at the Fisher Poets gathering, all hands patching the holes no matter the battering. Gear work through the winter, we think she's ready for opening day. Truth is, she's not a type ship, sorry to say. It all comes together with a skeleton crew. How does it happen? The answer is all of you. Volunteers, MCs, Fisher Poets create such a spirit of fun. That's how it came to pass. The Fisher Poets gathering turned 21.
58 seconds.
I'm going to take a very short pause. So Amanda is the next generation of Fisher Poets leadership. And on behalf of all the volunteers that we don't get to thank tonight, let's let her know how much we appreciate Astoria's volunteers.
Also, I'm giving you an extra point for a true story there. Not that my points count at all, but I'm ready.
Okay. Disclaimer, I know I'll be one of those who walks down stage right here. I'm Deborah from Cordova, and I live around the corner from your sister.
Right on. I mean, Cordova's that size, right? Every single one of you people from Cordova has come up to me telling me you live around the corner from Molly. So.
I do, though, really, for sure. This is called Blessing This Life. 2 months past turning 21, I'm pitching my tent on the Homer Spit. Gray, rocky beach and discovered tent stakes don't work. First time for this Jersey girl who's arrived on a different planet with vast spaces where the grocery store didn't have yogurt till Thursday. Everyone wore brown rubber boots and the sky was bright all night. How could I know then that I'd find my way, that I'd pack all I owned in 3 boxes? One was the cat. Sleep in the attic of someone who was a friend of someone who had bought a house in Cordova. That jarred salmon would be Christmas gifts. Rain could be fat, and a December harbor sleepy and lovely. That I'd travel the world but always come back and marry a man on the first snow of November. I'd watch him rebuild a wooden boat through the winter. I'd stack corks, learned to cook on 2 burners, and after 11 days, wash my hair in a soup pot. That we'd tie ganyons in the living room, or that halibut longlining is the hardest damn work I've ever done, and the deck winch is a terrifying dragon when it catches the sleeve of your jacket, tosses you around, and lands a man at your feet. That miracles of miracles, my husband would walk away when most do not. That our son would come into the world a few hours after the boat came off the grid, and his first word would be net. His favorite food, smoked black cod, and I would promise to bronze his first little boots and pack a tote of toys for him, stowing them under the galley table. That the bunk we shared would grow too small, that his dad would install the Raycor upside down and forget how to read the chart, and the limited entry commission had a kind woman who transferred permits. That my strong man-child would take over, and he would be the youngest sane captain in the fleet. And 4 years later, we'd bring his dad in a basket made of recycled longline to rest off the marker in a bay in the northern district of Prince William Sound. That's not moving. That my fisher friends would be so kind, the 2016 season would be lean, I would add and subtract big numbers and worry, and that I would laugh and love again and bless this life in a fishing town, that all this would find its way in words. And how could I know that at 21, like the salmon that turned north every year, I too would call this place home.
Just beautiful.
Our next poet, she's going to introduce herself, but she came up and said, this is not about fishing, it's about my kids. And we said, come on up here, and especially when you find out that she came from Boulder, Colorado to come to Fisher Poets Gathering. So let's give an out-of-towner.
My name is Brenda Burke, and I'm from Boulder. My older child turned 21, took herself out, had too much fun. Her path to turn back was to run down the road to become a Mormon. Seems the older felt what it took was finding her limits in a book. Seeking boundaries refused from her father and me. Will this turn provide her serenity? Time will tell, we will see. My younger child has in turn watched her sister crash and burn. She in turn wants no such truck, happy to play joyfully in the muck, but has the gift of more restraint, turning back before she faints. She will soon turn 21. I'm sure she'll go and have some fun. She's already told me, already said, total oblivion will not hold her in good stead. I watch them both stumble and coast, one running out the door with toast, the other walking with the Holy Ghost. I feel they will both turn out fine, though different paths they chose to find. I hold them in my love and turn to see, for the younger, what the turn to 21 will be.
58 seconds, you qualify. It's just a helpful hint. If the faster you read, the likelier you are to qualify.
All right.
Just a little hint.
Hello, my name is Eric Nelson, and I grew up in a small fishing hamlet just across the river called Ilwaco. Thank you. And I fished actually with Rob Seitz. Some of you might know him. He's a regular at the Fisher Poet Society, and I've got a lot of tales about that, but none that I can fit within 60 seconds. So, the night I turned 21, not really, but you know, the point is, there I was, fish, Rex, Petrale, Dover sole, fish. What the fuck is that? Sorting fish, you see a lot of things up to my hips in nightmares from the deep. A monkey-faced eel is chopping at my grundins. I stab it 5 or 6 times with a ratfish. It dies. Maybe they are poisonous. Fish, a trolley, Rex, Dover, Dover. Keep on sorting all night long. 21.
46 seconds, you qualify.
Thank you. My name is Cynthia, and I drove here from Puget Island, which is just upriver, about 30 nautical miles. Yeah. At 21.
Hang on one second. I want them to hear you. So I move it this way. If you don't stay there, I'm going to chase you clear to the curtain.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
He's got his lariat, so might want to, you know. You're doing good, Cynthia. Also, Cynthia's Merchant Marine, just P.S.
At 21, the ocean just a dream to me. And at 31, sailing downwind to fair Hawaii. Then upwind, pointing to mainland shores, riding swells upon the sea. Joy turns to study and becomes my work. And now counting nautical miles. Foreign port departures show me what will be. At 41, sunsets, sunrises rekindle joy. My duties adding into files. From Mozambique to Kodiak, Bremen to Singapore, Yokohama to Lam Shabang, discharges, free. The sea of stars, my true home now, following dreams of 21 through my life's sweet trials.
59 seconds, Cynthia. You qualify.
Thank you. All right, my name is Paul Rentko, and I'm from Snohomish, Washington, but every summer of my life, my family's taken me to the south end of Kodiak Island, Dead Man's Bay. I am here for the second year because of my Aunt Michelle. You might have heard her read. She's amazing. And my family ended up on the south end because of her too. But this one is very similar to the one I read last year. It's about being stupid in a skiff. 21 fathoms out, still not to the turn, stretching out forearms to alleviate the burn. The pot still ahead on our threadbare set net, shaped like a diamond, heavy and wet. We picked the first wall, it was looking good. Salmon piled high. Suddenly, without us realizing the extent, the water turned the waves white. They started climbing toward the rails. My crewman and I emptied the first wall of flailing silver, then tried to turn the corner, regretting that our life jackets were hung on nails at camp instead of over our shoulders. The set line swung fast, eluding the skiff's rollers. My friend and I strained with all of our might, but the line wouldn't land and space got tight. We were being cut in half. We could hardly breathe. Extra toughs braced against the side of our skiff. We pushed and we heaved, trying to set the line into place. We prayed for a break in the wind or the waves. The line wouldn't land and it snapped back against our guts, trying to send us over the side. With the last gasp of our strength, we caught a brief lull, set the line and slammed in the post. Bruised abdomens and adrenaline kept our spirits afloat. We'd almost been beaten, launched out of our boat. Not dead, not done. We'd both lived long enough to turn 21.
Hi, I'm Susan Rose. I actually grew up in Flint, Michigan, and I'm still standing here. Now we live near Ann Arbor, which is here. Go Blue. I'm at Fisher Poets. I came to Fisher Poets because my daughter is a Fisher Poet, Marie Rose, known as Rose. Yay! So in the spirit of Fisher Poets, I wanted to contribute too. For 21 years, the Fisher Poets Gathering have worked hard to turn out more than a smattering, giving poets a venue to express their experience on the water about fishing, the environment, and all things that matter. To perform something you've written, a poem that you love, needs sometimes encouragement, maybe even a shove. Astoria has worked hard and rallied to lend their support to all of the fisher poets who visit this port. After 21 years, we give a shout out to the Fisher Poets Gathering and all who have turned out.
41 seconds. From Flint, Michigan. Does Flint have clean water yet?
Hey, Ron.
I don't think
Hey,
so.
Will. All right, I'm Nancy Cook, Astoria, Oregon. Still spend summers in McCarthy, where this one comes from. I'm standing glacier side, startle, turn, 21 gun salute sounding through the enormous silence of the Wrangell Mountains. Renegade funeral ritual, Jim Miller and his gang honoring my new friend Chris, who burned to death on winter solstice alone in his unfinished shack. Was he too wasted on cheap beer and stoli to escape? Or maybe he was ready. His sled dog Rudy did run free. And for that, I was a wee bit happy as they passed me a shot of Yukon Jack on the day I turned 21.
52 seconds, Nancy qualified.
Hi, I'm Jeannie, and I'm from Long Beach, across the river. My poem is called 21 in Ketchikan. He turned 21 in Ketchikan, many miles from home, fish tending on the Miss Mary. His heart just had to roam. He learned to fish, he learned to cook, he learned to drive a boat, a skiff to run and have some fun, to push around a tote. He loved and lost, learned ropes and lines, he counted fish, not well. He learned to drink, pass out and puke. He learned to cuss, oh hell. A mother's wish to protect her son, there is not a way to ban. The draw, the men, the Alaska wild, it made my boy a man. Just as those before him, I guess I'm still a fan. My heart was with him that very day. He turned 21, a man.
Yeah. 46 seconds. Thank you very much. You qualify.
Sorry, I'm abnormal. Bob Phillips, I'm from Canby, Oregon. I worked out of Homer for Jimbo Calhoun, the son of the screamer Red Calhoun in 1970. And these are some very somber poems. Mine has a little more levity to it. So, and by the way, I come here out of admiration for the people who fish for a living. I did it for a year to pay for college, and it was the hardest, most dangerous job I've ever done, and I just admire you so much. Okay? Before I turned 21, my life did take a turn to a purse seiner on Kodiak, where fishing I did learn. I was the cook, plunged the cork line, was the ringman and a brailer, eventually becoming both a fisherman and a sailor. On Wide Bay, we celebrated the apparent end of our season, and with equal parts of Everclear and fruit juice, I eventually lost good reason. Not much do I remember from that wonderful night of joy, except that the next day, I was one sick boy. To my dismay, Captain Jimbo decided to do one last set, and he took a lot of pleasure as he heard me loudly retch. I sat on deck on my ass and ran the power block, while in my place Jimbo stacked the rings, and I recovered from my shock. I've come to understand one lesson in life I have learned was that celebrating was best reserved till at last 21 I had turned.
A minute and 8 seconds. Real close. Real
you're gonna
close.
have to
Give him a big hand.
Lower that.
Give him a big hand.
I'm Jamie, I live in Coos Bay, and I have a mystery that I'm hoping you can help solve, and it was suggested by someone that if I broadcast it here, maybe I would get an answer. It is also actually on the back of a napkin, and we do have a contender for this mystery, but he did not read this poem tonight. So, 21 turns around my brain trying to remember this poet's name. It was at the event center, RIP, where we first encountered his poetry. It was a few years back, and the specifics are hazy, but all in all, it's driving me crazy. The Shithouse Mouse poem. Who read it? Do you know him? I keep trying and trying to remember his name. I don't want another 21 turns around my brain.
27 seconds, and Harlan Bailey. I think he didn't read it because he was at the Liberty and he couldn't say Shithouse Mouse. Maybe you can get a command performance.
Hey, I'm Doug Rhodes from Craig, and I'm going to do my poems in the style of Dr. Seuss meets Clem Stark.
Soon to be a major
Much
motion
right.
picture.
I owned my own fishing boat before I turned 21, fishing the coast all summer long in the land of the midnight sun. I drifted at night offshore and saw sights few people saw, and fished amongst the Japanese before the 200-mile limit law. No cell phones, no sat phones, no one knew where I would go. My electronics were a flasher and compass and a CB radio. My closest friends were old-timers. I tried to do just like they did. They helped me out with their advice to that crazy troller kid. But you know, I missed out on parties with high school buddies back in town, and their stories of traveling all summer would sometimes bring me down. Yet, now when I look back on my fishing career, as it's getting close to being done, I wouldn't change a goddamn thing before I turned 21.
50 seconds. Well within the markers.
Hi there, my name's Amanda. I live in Salem. My heart's in Astoria.
Hold on, let's either do this or not, all right?
Oh, thank you. Sea wind, we turn to starboard. Buoy 21, listing. See now the fallen bow picker, all old paint, blistering. See when, why way back, all their hopes so needing. The gods they play with loaded dice, no wind left unbleeding. See now the hallowed light, the hope of all returning. Turn, your life returned, God played into the bargain. See now, to port we turn, buoy 21, still listing.
56 seconds of mysticism.
Hello. Hello, everybody. I absolutely adore Fisher Poets. That's all I have to say.
What's your name, man?
I am Jason from Portland, Oregon. This is called The Fisher Poets Turns 21, the musical. Raindrops on rigging, whiskers on captains, bright-colored cabins and warm woolen mittens, brown painted portholes and tied-up white sails. These are a few of my favorite things. Cream-colored porpoise and calm anchored schooners, silver-white salmon that spawn in the spring. These are a few of my favorite things. Thank you. Fisher Poets Turn 21, the musical.
Thanks, Jason.
Not as short as I look. I'm Jenna. I live in Moab. This is really silly. So thank you guys all for your heartfelt things this evening. Shout out to Jim's poem. I really love that. Of near 24 fishers getting turned for a score, Davy of the 20 won the battle but lost the war. He drank whiskey like a skipper, but he was a greenhorn through and through, with nothing but ambition and all the world to prove. He turned his dry heaves wet, stifled his own sea legs with beer, but kept his head in the drinking game, kept his intentions there quite clear. Davy tried to fill big shoes, but instead filled a big glass, and in the end he won the game, but he made himself an ass. Of 24 fishers getting turned for a score, Davy of the 20 won the battle but lost the war.
45 seconds. Arr.
Hello, I'm Sharon Johnson from Minnesota, most recently of Portland.
Yay!
My father turned 21 on the farm, conscientious objector, growing rations for GIs, his brothers overseas. But he dreamed of Minnesota lakes, the Lund boat with the trolling motor, casting for walleye. I came to know my father fishing, drifting, talking, pines and birch and dappled water, the calm before sunset, loon calls luffing into dusk. He taught me to bait a treble hook, shiners, frogs, maybe the pole would bend, a young northern full of fight. We were fully present then. He called for the net, played the fish, guessing by how they went down to the weeds what we might reel into the boat. I turn at night, now, 3 times 21, and see shapes below the surface, the arc of my line, what I might catch before the dark.
You just squeaked in. 1.001. You qualify.
Thank you.
You qualify, so just stick around over there. Thank you.
My name is Pam Shipp. I'm from Nema Valley, Washington. And I haven't written anything creative since grade school, unless you want to count my Facebook posts. 21 troubles turned me around, spun me, dropped me, kicked me to the ground. I struggled back up and on 2 left feet, stumbled to my phone to call my friend Pete. He answered his phone with his slow, soft smile and listened as I sobbed for a good long while. I listened to his smile and he spoke gently to me. Put on your boots and a cap on your head. You're coming with me. I know what you need. I know what your soul needs. Get a good warm jacket and grab your fishing pole. I climbed in his truck and we drove down the hill. We stopped to eat out at a shack called Phil's. There he fed me a feast of oysters and crabs and salmon on cedar. I swear I've never tasted anything sweeter. From there we went out and sat in his boat. We threw out a crab pot, and then we just float. The day suddenly dawned, and it broke overhead when it dawned on me also that my 21 troubles had turned their back on me.
Woo! A minute 12. Thank you very much. Big round of applause. Big round of applause. Don't go off this. Oh, there's stairs there. God, I didn't see the stairs. Like, no. Woo. Thanks, Eli. I know you got me.
Thank you.
I think people write a poem just to get Ron to crouch in front of them and service them a little bit.
My name is Diane. I live in Portland. And gratitude to the sea and to the Fisher Poets. More than 21 of us, as if we could, but we did. We negated the sea where we had lived, crawled. Then we walked one by one, then belly by belly, in one turn, until we're nearly done, yet we're not even to 21.
31. Very concise. And philosophical. Thank you.
The first time I ever had to lift the mic. That's great. My name is Rebecca. I'm from Portland, and this is my first Fisher Poets event. 21 jagged poles left behind of old piers, buoys gong, weeble around gales. The lighthouse turns and turns and turns with my breathing. A ship carcass at high tide's edge next to me, neither of us acknowledging the other for fear of a truth that 21 jagged pier poles hide in decay. Thank you.
32 seconds, well qualifying. And evocative.
All right, my name is Fred. God willing, nobody in the audience knows my dad, Charlie Medlicott, who was in the Coast Guard for a really long time. So I can't read my own handwriting, but we'll see. I don't remember turning 21 at the Grand Aleutian. I remember getting cold cocked in the Unisea parking lot, and I remember waking up face down on the ice and thinking I probably deserved it. I remember spending 24 hours bolting on a net reel to the Cape Horn, a 16th of a turn per bolt every time. I remember having no clue what I was doing, and I remember bluffing the captains who were paying $150 an hour for me to figure it out. I remember the sound Duncan made when he caught his hand in the lathe, and I remember promising myself I would never make that mistake. I remember making hoses blind drunk in the middle of the night for a crew that needed them yesterday, and I remember replacing them a week later under a cloud of bad vibes. I don't remember turning 21 at the Grand Aleutian, and I'll never forget it for the rest of my life.
54 seconds. Qualified.
Hi, my name is Mark. I live in Cordova, but I gotta say to this lady from Flint, because it's sort of a family tradition. I grew up in Ohio, and I played ball, and we still say, screw blue. I realize I'm probably preaching to the choir, but here you go. 21 turns and a slew of gulls dipping and diving on their feet, arcing, hovering, muling above us. We're eddied out below a granite gravel bar on the Kwijak at Igiaguk last spring. Midnight sun twilight witness to the sacred headwater flow of the billion sockeye smolt out-migration. A river of life spawned and reared in lakes Iliamna and Clark. Among the most prolific habitat on the planet, no place for a fucking open pit mine. Downriver in Bristol Bay, more predators await their prey. The smolts will ride the big ebb tides out to forage in the Bering Sea. In a few years, we'll be expecting their return. 21 turns in a slew of gulls.
58 seconds of passion. You qualify. You're welcome to remain on the stage.
Hi, I'm Tracy. I'm from Portland. I've done a little fishing and a lot less poetry. So she wanted to turn 21, drink tequila, Fort George beer, go to the Labor Temple with her fisherman friends. She turned 31. She drank too much at land and at sea. She drank in the morning, at noon, and at night. 41 years old. Her gut hurts, her head hurts, her pocketbook hurts, her family hurts. She's 51. She's ill. She's all alone. Her eyes are yellow. Her skin is too. She is 61, and she's sorry to her younger self. She's sorry to her family and to her fishermen folk for the choices she made since she turned 21.
45 seconds of amends.
Hi there, I'm Sarah. I'm a local of 20 plus years. This is my 11th Fisher Poets. And my father and my brother are commercial fishermen, but I am a mermaid. I'm in the waters while you're all fishing. I'm out there doing my thing. So anyway, here we go. Turning 21 today, born anew as legal. Legality. What is it? When we do it anyway, right? Sex, drugs, rock and roll, and all the things. But today, at 21, we are fresh and legal and alive. Our body pulses with need. Turning from the clandestine to the accepted. We turn from the chrysalis to the butterfly, fishing for our needs in the deep sea of everything, feeling and touching and tasting and becoming and needing. We are not alone, not alone. We are one in a school of many, and we won't be caught in the net. We won't, but rather we will escape into the deep, bright blue, where we are finally whole without your rules and at one with ourselves, at last allowed to be all that we are in the deep, wide blue, allowed to be all that we need to be at 21 and 31 and 41 and 51 and so on and so forth, becoming, evolving, always growing, becoming more finally allowed to be without law, just we and our school, our vibe, our tribe, just we, finally allowed to be growing, evolving into eternity, turning 21.
1 minute and 23 seconds of mermaid time. You did not qualify. So, I mean, you can stay on the stage if you want, but you're out of the running.
Hi, my name is Patra. I grew up in Puget Sound, but I adopted Oregon in 1970, and Astoria has been my home for 3 years now. It's nice that we have this kind of electronic paper when you're writing an impromptu poem. Franny turned 21 today. She's been lying about her age so long, some people thought she might be turning 40. It wasn't her gait that fooled them. She had her sea legs under her and had perfected her story. She told the tale so many times, it no longer seemed a falsehood. The thing that made her seem so old was the man that she had married. Her life was hard and turbulent and aged her rapidly. And even though her heart was young, she was just turning 21. She was worn to a frazzle and as old as dirt, tired beyond belief. So today, in honor of her birthday, Franny has some sage advice she'd like to pass along. Although I just turned 21, you see, I've seen most everything. I do not regret my choices, but I just wanted to say it isn't easy being married to the sea. Franny just turned 21. It was no easy feat.
1 minute. 1 minute. Well done.
My name is Michael, and I'm originally from Oklahoma, but now for the last 30 years I've lived about River Mile 168 by the Dalles, Oregon. So got to do a little Oklahoma thing with this. Not quite the right tune. I turned 21 in prison, doing live without parole. Merle blasting from the megaphone, our skipper in control of stereo and roping as we rolled across the bar. We were on a mission to do good and go far. Our captain, you must know, was not from Point Loma, but a different kind of ocean, the plains of Oklahoma. So we rammed through the reef with a bone in our teeth and lassoed a dozen whalers, releasing their catch and jailing the rest, robbing 21 turns of entrailers.
45 seconds of harmony. Come on up, Buck.
I only look tall. I'm Buck Malloy, fished out of Cordova for a long time and live in Bellingham, Washington now. And it's so short, I could talk for a long while and still qualify, right?
Oh, great.
I'm not going to. When 21 creepy old turnips haunt the kitchen of your ships, it's time to find a new way to mix 2 in 1 into turny stew.
20 perplexing seconds. Thank you, Buck.
That's good, Buck. You were rushed. You really didn't have time to write anymore, apparently.
Hi, I'm Annie. I'm from Kingston, Washington at this point. Well, maybe the last 30 years. Okay. I turned 21 serving drinks at the Red Dog Saloon. How did I get there, you ask? The adventure began in LaConner on a new Bristol-based gill netter. Oops, sorry. Was I up to the task? Up to Bellingham to provision and finish the rigging. The running lights still needed installed. Up the inside passage we ventured, no sea trials were involved. Queen Charlotte's we tucked into God's pocket. The Sound too heavy to cross. The morning promised fair sailing. On up to Millbank, we progressed, whatever. But halfway across, the turbocharger was a loss, and we idled through Dixon Entrance. Black smoke blowing out the stack. The boat made it safe into Ketchikan, 'cause Shakes was not in the plan. It was clear I needed a new attack. Off to Juneau I went, made friends a many. That night, my birthday, a ditty was given to me. There once was a woman from Ketchikan, not Hoona or Tenakee or Pelican. She served drinks and smiled and drove us all wild. Can that girl dance? You bet she can. 40 years later, that's still the best birthday present turning 21 could have given.
Thank you, Annie. 1 minute and 29 seconds of time travel into the past. Give Annie another hand as she exits the stage.
Hey everyone, I'm Matthew from Seattle, Washington, and most of what I'm gonna say to you here tonight is a poem I actually wrote for my dad when I was in like 5th grade about a fishing trip in 3rd grade, the first time I went fishing, so like 36 years old, so plagiarizing myself 3.5 decades later, So here we go. For this 21st, I share with you a poem about a turning point in my life. Written for a 5th grade Father's Day, a poem about my first time fishing. It was about a 1980 August day. Together we went fishing up at Nathan Creek. The one fish I did catch, I did not get to eat. You might say time was wasted, but I must disagree. The reason is I love you much more than you can see. And so, 21 turning to eternity, forever fishing with my father and my family.
41 seconds of heartfelt nostalgia.
My name's Doreen. I live in Roseburg, Oregon now, but I was married to a highline fisherman for 20 years, and this is one of his stories. His grandpa had had a gold mine down in Yakataga for 21 years. So Ed flew down one day with some friends, and while they were down there, in the little cabin that they built, a big old bear crashed into the cabin, broke all the windows. Ed grabbed his gun and shot it. They flew back into town, into Cordova, and they were in the coffee shop. Everybody was talking about it, and all of a sudden, in walks 2 big state policemen, flew down from Anchorage. We heard somebody shot a bear. They're out of season, Come on, Ed, you're gonna have to go with us and fill out some forms. So Ed, he went down there with him, and you'd have to know Ed to appreciate this, but they gave him a questionnaire. He filled out all these things, and one of the questions was, what do you think you could have done in place of something? What do you think you could have done besides what you did? And he wrote down on there, I could have shot the son of a bitch last year when he broke in. He's broken in 21 times.
1 minute and 12 seconds of practical advice. Is that everybody? Mick, you got one? I don't know if you guys know about Mick, the sound man here. The sound here is superb. And Mick is a devoted Fisher Poet sound engineer. He's just a champ. And he never fails to touch in with the poets. He's not the invisible guy. He's invisible, and then he comes up and he goes, that was amazing, and then he goes away. Thank you, Mick, for all your hard work.
So you want to do the read the last line, get an audience applause? Is that
Yeah, I don't know. This is the part I just never know about. Ron wants to know if we want to do the last line and get the applause from you guys. You guys like that idea? All right, how about you guys? You like that idea? Last line.
last line?
Don't say anything else. Okay?
Start backwards, just the way they came, right?
We'll start backwards. Okay. All right, you guys, it's on you now. I wonder if we should just do 2 people at a time. How about that would be like fish on both sides of the boat?
Robbing 21 turns of entrailers.
Forever fishing with father and family.
I'll tell you what, I probably didn't tell this. We'll just, after you do your line, go ahead and step back into the audience, and Mo and I will try and grab the really loud ones and hang on to them. How's that? But This is an incredibly professionally produced show we're putting on right here.
I kind of want to have a dance-off, but Ron vetoed it.
Okay. She's sorry to her family and to her fishermen folk for the choices she made since she turned 21.
Had 21 jagged pier poles hide in decay.
Will we make it to 21?
These guys are all good. It's hard to beat, so I'm just going to go take my seat.
I keep trying and trying to remember his name. I don't want another 21 turns around my brain.
My heart was with him that very day he turned 21, a man.
Yeah, come on back up.
Stay right there. Yep, sorry. Okay, sorry, Jason. Now you're on.
Fisher Poets turns 21, the musical.
Okay.
See now, to port we turn, buoy 21, still listing.
All right, all right.
Mix 2 and 1 into attorney stew.
After 21 years, we give a shout out to the Fisher Poets Gathering and all who turned out.
Not dead, not done. We'd both live long enough to turn 21. Hey, hey.
Dreams of 21 through my life's sweet trials.
It's just one line, my friend.
It's got to be good. Dover, Rex, the trolley. Keep on sorting all night long.
For the younger, what the turn to 21 will be.
Volunteers, MCs, Fisher Poets create such a spirit of fun. That's how it came to pass. The Fisher Poets Gathering turned 21.
How will they know turning 21?
I have at least 21 scars to remind me to protect my turn friends.
Your call. She's singing.
I turned and shuddered at each pop of the 21-gun salute. "21 years. It's your turn."
"21 turns and screw pebble."
I turn at night, now 3 times 21, and see shapes below the surface, the arc of my line, what I might catch before the dark.
I don't remember turning 21 at the Grand Aleutian, but I'll never forget it for the rest of my life.
Five decades after 21, I can still pin down my biggest sheep.
I'm sorry, I just can't do a sheep deal here. If that gets back to Arkansas.
Dance off. Dance off, Ron. Dance off.
Dance off?
Dance off.
This is all on you, Mo.
No, I'm sorry. I thought maybe people would do their poems and then Ron would dance.
Oh, no. So I tell you what, boy, this is tough.
Stepping forward, Amanda. Okay, here's Jason. Okay, off the stage. All right, no, come on, this is working. No, that's fine, you're doing great. It's good. Okay, that's good, stick around. Okay, 21 gun salute. You're in, out, in, out, in. All right. You can, we won't make you dance again. I just think that was awesome. Thank you, Mick. Thank you, dancers. I especially appreciated the turn interpretation. I saw what you were doing there, Sarah. All right. Gesture is older than the storytelling. Okay, what do we got? 5 people. All right, it's your turn to pick a way to pick. We're gonna do this 21 times.
I'm lost here.
I don't know. Okay, what do you guys want to do? You guys want to?
Poetry, you want them to recite their poem one more time?
All right. Okay, we're going to do the poem. One more time.
All right, recite
Mick,
your
you're
poem.
my hero. That was, thank you.
Recite your poem one more time, and then we're gonna have to get this show wrapped. Okay, come on up.
Come on up. All of you, come on up.
Okie doke, here we go. 21 fathoms out, still not to the turn, stretching out forearms to alleviate the burn. The pot still ahead on our threadbare set net, shaped like a diamond, heavy and wet. We picked the first wall, it was looking good, salmon piled high. Suddenly, without us realizing the extent, the wind turned the water white, waves climbing toward the rails. My crewman and I emptied the first wall of flailing silver, then tried to turn the corner, regretting that our life jackets were hung on nails at camp instead of over our shoulders. The set line swung fast, eluding the skiff's rollers. My friend and I strained with all of our might, but the line wouldn't land, and space got tight. We were being cut in half. We could hardly breathe. Extra toughs braced against the side of our skiff. We pushed and we heaved, trying to set the line into place. We prayed for a break in the wind or the waves. The line wouldn't land, and it snapped back into our guts, trying to send us over the side. With the last gasp of our strength, we caught a brief lull, set the line, and slammed in the post. Bruised abdomens and adrenaline kept our spirits afloat. We'd almost been beaten, launched out of our boat. Not dead, not done. We'd both lived long enough to turn 21. Now, to be fair, I'm pretty sure I got a pass on the first round. I think I'm over a minute, so I'm going to bow out.
Good man, good man.
When I turned 21, I graduated and wondered what I would do. I became a farmer. Now that I know what I can share with common fisher folk, it's watching the weather, ropes and gloves, maintaining machinery, running a crew, appreciating good rain gear and boots, but my extra toughs can't handle my jeans and rain pants. This puzzled me until I realized that fisher folk keep their rain pants out and farmers tuck them in. Now I got my biceps from wrestling sheep and hay, not wrestling fish. 5 decades after 21, I can still pin down my biggest sheep.
I mean, this is about how I was like a drunk incompetent in my 20s. I should not be rewarded for this, but I don't remember turning 21 at the Grand Aleutian. I remember getting cold cocked in the UNICE parking lot, and I remember waking up face down on the ice and figuring that I deserved it. I remember spending 24 hours bolting a net reel onto the Cape Horn, a 16th of a turn at a time. I remember having no clue what I was doing, and I remember bluffing to the captains that were paying $150 an hour for me to figure it out. I remember the sound Duncan made when he caught his hand in the lathe, and I remember promising myself I would never be that stupid. I remember making hoses blind drunk in the middle of the night for a crew that needed them yesterday, and I remember replacing them a week later under a cloud of bad vibes. I don't remember turning 21 at the Grand Aleutian, and I'll never forget it for the rest of my life.
I apologize that mine's kind of depressing. When he turned 21, we celebrated at Sea Dogs on the Androscoggin, Maine. We were an odd pair for sure. Me, college senior with honors. Him, a local, a townie. We met during pickup, bonded over a spliff. Fast friends, we'd go out on his old ratty skiff. He taught me that rotting chicken was the best lobster bait, so we'd hit the Safeway dumpster at dawn and go out for the day. To be honest, we didn't bag much, spent more time with Jack and Jim Beam than any full traps. But graduation came quick, and I moved to Boston, and he moved too. It was 2003. Some joined for country, some joined for revenge. He joined to get clean. He did, for what it's worth. But that and his silver star are little solace as I turn and shudder at each pop of the 21-gun salute.
He turned 21 in Ketchikan, many miles from home. Fish tending on the Miss Mary, his heart just had to roam. He learned to fish, he learned to cook, he learned to drive a boat, a skiff to run and have some fun to push around a tote. He loved and lost, learned ropes and lines, he counted fish, not well. He learned to drink, pass out and puke, he learned to cuss, oh hell. A mother's wish to protect her son, there's no way to ban. The draw, the men, the Alaska wild, It made my boy a man. Just as those before him, I guess I'm still a fan. My heart was with him that very day. He turned 21, a man.
I'll tell you what, that's probably the tightest race we've had in a long time, but I think your applause made it clear right there. Mom, congratulations.
Probably the first time your dancing skills ever won you a poetry contest.
Hey, we want to thank all of you for entering, and just as you go, you know, I'd say this for everybody that entered. A quote from my dad, who was really gifted at building self-esteem in his boys, and so I would just say this to each one of you that tried: remember, you're unique. Just like everybody else. Thank you for coming out. See you next year at the 22nd Fisher Poets Gathering.
Contenders, you guys are great. Thank you, audience, for your guidance. It's very helpful.
Well done.